Hey buddy, come on, share a smile for your friend now. You know it's been a long, long time. Good evening, everybody. I'm just enjoying some good songs right now. Kind of mellow right now. Just figured I'd do a radio show more or less just to get a chance to speak a little bit. This is Real Steel Sports on Spreaker Web Radio with James Frisner. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Got a whole bunch of sports news to talk about. Hope you guys are ready and waiting to listen to what I have to say. It was debated this morning on Mike and Mike in the Morning. I don't know if anybody caught that. But the NFL is considering to add an extra playoff team in each conference, meaning that the top 7 teams from each conference would make the playoffs. The top seed would have a bye, and seeds with 2, 3, and 4 would play. Seeds 2, 3, and 4 would take on seeds 7, 6, and 5 respectively. Not only do I feel that it's not a bad idea, I think it's a brilliant one. And I'll tell you why. Because the NFL is looking to make money. That's what they care about, is money. We've already come to the point that they don't care about the players. So, and you add an extra playoff game, add a little more revenue to your total for the year. Actually, 2. Think about it. Saturday football would have, on the wild card weekend, would have 3 games on Sundays and Saturdays. And then next week, we'd just be back to normal with 4, then 2 for the conference title game, and then the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. That 2 games would net a lot of extra dough for the NFL. What I'd like to point out is that it has several effects. Effect number 1, the end of the season. With one bye, teams are going to be fighting even harder to get that overall number 1 seed. Let's put it this way. Say Seattle has a chance to get the number 1 seed if they're 12-3, and New Orleans is 13-2, but Seattle has beaten New Orleans. A win by the Seahawks would give them number 1 overall. Alright? Now the Saints are maybe hosting the Buccaneers. The Bucs are 4-11. And the Seahawks are at Arizona. And Arizona's fighting for a wild card spot as to get in as the number 7 seed. That Seattle-New Orleans game goes from being that Seattle-Arizona game goes from being a watch and see what happens to a we got a chance to alter our fates here in the playoffs. Let's play. That game automatically goes from average to very, very interesting. Am I the only one who sees that? The second effect would be on Wild Card Weekend, as I mentioned before. Add an extra team in both conferences. 7 teams vying for it. It makes it more interesting. It really, really does. Because you have that extra game. You've got that extra team that could throw a monkey wrench. This year, had that been in effect, that would put this year in the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have been the 7th overall seed. In the NFC, the Arizona Cardinals would have been. Alright, that's enough about that. I think that's a great idea for several reasons. Let's see, moving on to other things to talk about. We've got some results from the NCAA tournament tonight. Wisconsin has advanced to the Elite 8, where they will take on the winner of San Diego State and Arizona. I was incorrect in my assumption. I thought that Baylor's offense would be able to get enough points on Wisconsin's defense, but it turns out that Baylor's zone defense, actually Wisconsin's ability to chew up a zone defense, proved its point, and Wisconsin winning easily 62-59. The other game this final is, I was correct on this one. Dayton 82, Stanford 72. Dayton is now in the Elite Eight. If anybody had Dayton in the Elite Eight at the start of this whole thing, there's only one of two ways. Either you tossed a coin on every single pick, or you hacked the system. Other than that, there is no way you got Dayton in the final Elite Eight. But their run will end. Florida or UCLA should be more than enough to beat them. Speaking of Florida and UCLA, I'm actually watching that game right now. I have it muted. 4 minutes and 44 seconds left to go in the first half. Florida leads UCLA 29-26. Meanwhile, in the other game, Arizona and San Diego State are tied at 17-17. We had some other results in the world of sports from today. The second batch of quarterfinal matches at the tournament in Miami for tennis, the Sony Open in Miami, has been decided. Top seed Nadal took out top seed Rafael Nadal took out 12th ranked Milos Raonic 4-6, 6-2, 6-4. Very interesting matchup between these two, Nadal being the defensive player with the big baseline game, and Raonic being the man with the huge serve. Raonic had a break lead on him, had a set lead and almost a break lead before Nadal came back and took it. He'll take on Thomas Berdych, a 6-4, 7-6 winner over Alexander Dogopolov. Yesterday's semifinals were decided as Kei Nishikori felled number 5 seed Roger Federer, and Djokovic took out an ailing Andy Murray. Here's the way that I see this portraying. I like Nadal over Berdych by a hair. I think even though Berdych has the game to take him out on this court, which I think is very suited to him, somewhat of a high bounce for hard court, and the fact that he likes the ball up high and he can actually hit through it with his pace, I still don't think that he's good enough to beat Nadal right now. I still think he's got a way to go. In the other half, I'd say Nadal wins this in 3 tight sets. I'd say 2 tight sets and maybe one of those one-sided. The second semifinal between Djokovic and Kei Nishikori could actually get potentially interesting, because these two are similar. They both like to play from the back of the court. But I'd have to say right now that Djokovic is the clear favorite, because of the fact that, again, Djokovic, look at his career, look at the numbers he's put up in his career. But if you look at their head-to-head, it's dead even. However, they've not played in 3 years. The semifinals of Basel 2011, Kei Nishikori took out Djokovic in 3 sets. In the 2010 second round of the French Open, Novak Djokovic took out Kei Nishikori easily in straights. Look at this. Think of it this way. Come Sunday, we're going to be watching another Federer, we're watching another Djokovic and Nadal final. That's how it's going to play out. Other news to report. Miguel Cabrera has signed a deal for 10 years and $292 million with the Detroit Tigers. That is insane. That is a record that beats Alex Rodriguez's contract. It's a shame though, because I heard the Yankees actually offered him 40 years and $950 million. Too bad. The 76ers have officially tied the NBA's record for the worst losing streak in NBA history with 26 games. They are by far the worst team in basketball. Maybe they're currently 1 game above Milwaukee in the race for the worst team in the league. But if you just look at the last how many games, Milwaukee's actually won 2 of their last 10. Philadelphia hasn't won a game since before the Super Bowl, and that was in early February. What does that tell you? More news to report. Johnny Manziel has been reported to have had a very impressive pro day. and I actually got a chance to catch some of his pro day during between my classes, and I was very impressed by what I saw. In fact, he proved me right in a lot of areas. Let's put it this way. He threw 65 passes to 6 different receivers. I believe he completed 61 of them, including a 60-yard bomb at the end of the game to top it all off. I've said it from the beginning that this kid's the best quarterback in the draft, and it's not his size. Bridgewater and Bortles are better. It's not his mechanics. I think Bridgewater and Bortles still have better throwing mechanics. What really, really, really sets apart Johnny Manziel, it's his heart, it's desire. You can tell when the guy steps on the football field. There's one thing he cares about, and that's one thing only, and that's winning. Let me put it to you this way. Bortles played for Central Florida. Bridgewater played for Louisville. They played against good to slightly average teams their whole careers. Manziel's had to play Bama, LSU, Florida in 2012 wasn't too bad. He's had to play so many good teams and defenses in his career at Texas A&M. The guy's used to going against really good players and against really good defenses, and yet he's still put up the numbers he's had. Why do you think that the SEC's passing records aren't that impressive? Because of the way the teams play defense. And for Manziel to roll in and in 2 years put up some of the most staggering totals in SEC history, that proves your point right there. Right now, he is the best quarterback in this draft. And again, I said it before and I'll say it again. Even with Jadeveon Clowney being the beast he is, even with some of the potential talk of Khalil Mack, the inside linebacker, in my opinion, if you're the Texans, you're number 1 overall, and you want to make a splash and you want to get your team back in the promised land quicker, you take Manziel, because Bortles is still a couple years of project, because he still wasn't that well developed at Central Florida because of the fact that he didn't have to do near as much. Bortles averaged per game at Central Florida 16 attempts, 16 completions and 24 attempts, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That's what he averaged per game. What did Bridgewater average? 20 of 29, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. What did Manziel average? 23 of 33 for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. I'm not rounding those numbers as much because it's 1.5 touchdowns, 1.9 touchdowns, and 2.4 touchdowns for Bortles, Bridgewater, and Manziel respectively throughout their college career. Their pass ratings, Bortles is 154, Bridgewater 157.7, and Manziel's 164.1. Against better competition, against better teams, Manziel is clearly the best quarterback in this draft class. People want to say, oh, look at his running. All he does is run. All he does is run. He's not running like a Vic. He moves like a Tarkenton. Fran Tarkenton's who this guy reminds me of. And honestly, Tarkenton could play today. You know why? Because of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson plays the same damn way. I gotta look at Michael Vick has even said that Johnny Manziel will be a star. He's tweeted, Manziel will be a star in the NFL. Can't wait to watch him play. LeBron James says, just finished watching my bro Manziel Pro Day. Don't take me if you want to. He's flat out star. Accuracy on point. Again, what makes Manziel the best quarterback in this draft class is that he wants to win. Let's put it this way. If the little guy in a fight, if the little guy wants to win, and the big guy is kind of, or doesn't seem to have quite the heart, the little guy's going to win. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Sources have released information that suggests that Eagles and Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez have agreed to a contract. That is the dumbest move. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I talked about this before. If I said it was smart, I can't remember if I said it was smart or not. I don't think I even talked about it. Sanchez is the epitome of what you don't want in a pro quarterback. He's a party boy, doesn't care, fumbles, intercepts, isn't a leader. The hell did the Eagles sign him for? The Patriots and defensive tackle Vince Wilfork have agreed to restructure his contract so he can avoid removing his family, and he stays